Hello, Team 12606 Warhog. Today we are starting the tutorial series about Fusion 360. So let's go ahead and get started. So today we'll be going over some foundational concepts of Fusion 360, some best practices, as well as the basics of sketching and extruding. So to start with, let's get into best practices. Number one, it's always a good idea to save immediately what you're going to call it. So I'm going to call this tutorial 1. And then you can choose whatever folder you want to save it in. I'll save it in engineering design. Actually, you know what? I'll change it to demo project. Nope, not demo project, right here. So we'll go ahead and save. So now we've saved it. See how it says V0 up here? That means that we haven't actually done anything in the program yet. So we're going to go ahead and do that. So today I'll be making a little robot figurine to teach you some of the basics of Fusion 360. So to start with, we need to create a component. So by default, the project itself is a component. So tutorial is a component. But I can right click this and then say new component, and then right over here I will say, I'll call this the body, not body. We won't call it the body because that is an important other concept. So we'll call it robot body. And then parent, one selected, so we selected this as the parent component, and then I'm going to choose to activate. So I'm going to press OK. So now, right now, this component is activated. So now we're going to get over some basics of the parameter table. So I might be going this a bit out of order to some other people who are teaching this, but I think this is a very important foundational concept you need to keep in mind. So change parameters. This is where all the parameters in the entire project are stored. Every single value you input is stored here. But you can also create your own values. For example, say that I wanted to define how big I wanted the robot to be. Robot width. So I could put that in centimeters, inches, I could put that in whatever I want. I'll put it in inches. Say I want the robot to be 4 inches wide. Then I just press OK. So then I have that parameter that I can use, and we'll see how we can use it. So to start with, we're going to go ahead and create sketch, and now you can select any of these three planes, any of the three basic planes. To start with, before that though, let's go ahead and let's go over some basic navigational tools. So right up over here in the top right, that's called the view cube. The view cube, you can left click and then drag, and that will pivot around the origin. You can also tap anywhere on the view cube to go to one of a couple default views. So there's the top-down view. There is the view from, oh, that's a little off-center. So what we do to fix that is go to right and then press this, and then we can rotate it. And then right there, perfect. We can rotate, do whatever. Let's view it from this angle. Then press home, and that brings us right back here. So if you want to pan, hold the middle mouse, nope, not middle mouse button. If you want to pan, go ahead and go, yes, middle mouse button. Go middle mouse button if you want to pan. If you hold it down and then drag, you can move around however you want. If you press shift and middle mouse button, you can rotate, similarly to how you'd rotate the view cube. So middle mouse button to move, shift middle mouse button to rotate. You can also go down here to pan, and then you can do that with left click. Also orbit, and then you can do both of those actions with left click. So let's go back up to home view. And then, now let's make a sketch. So to start with, I'm going to press create sketch and then select the the XZ plane, because Y is up. That's a little different than some other programs, especially Kira, which we'll get to, that has Z is up, I believe. So now we're going to select this plane, the XZ plane, which is the horizontal plane, and now we can make whatever sketch we want using whatever objects we want. So to start with, I'm going to make the robot body. So there's a couple different types of base objects: line, rectangle, and circle. Those are the most basic. There's a couple different types of each of these, and it's basically how you make it. If I wanted to make a rectangle from 2 points, I select one corner point and then any other corner point anywhere else. Now let's say I wanted to make it centered on the origin. I could go over here and select center rectangle. So I select the center point and then a different point. Now see how I have these two values? If I press tab, I can change which one is highlighted. Say I want this top value to be the robot width. All I have to do is type in robot width, and then it will set that width. Now say I want the depth of the robot to be half of that. I could say robot width divided by 2, right there. And now we just click, and there we go. There is the start of our robot body. So for now, I'm just going to press Finish Sketch. We'll get back to more complex sketching tools later. But for now, we're going to press Finish Sketch, and see how it's all black around the outline? That means the sketch is fully constrained. That's a vocab word. Fully constrained sketches are sketches that you can't edit it no matter what unless you change some parameter. So like right over here, if I click and drag, I can't change it. I can't move it. I can't do anything. But if I click on this parameter and I change it, so I go robot width plus 3, then there you go, I can change it. Another thing I could do, say I was like, actually, we're going to go ahead and extrude first. So the most basic way to take a 2D sketch into the 3D plane is the extrude command. So to extrude, you select whatever face you want. So I'm going to select this sketch profile. Then I can raise it to whatever height I want. So in this case, I'm going to raise it to, we'll go 90 millimeters for now. And then see over here where it says Operation New Body. So it says New Body, and then we can open here. So open the robot body, then open Bodies. Inside the component, there's a bunch of different things stored. The origin, which right now by default is the model origin right here. And then there's also sketches, which we just created, and which is hidden automatically after you do something with it. I could unhide it if I wanted. And then there's bodies. And right now all we have is body 1. So I'm going to call this robot chest. Perfect. There we have our robot chest. So now there's various things that we can do to change this. See how it's a pretty boring flat cube? There's various ways we can modify it, but we can get to that later. But for now, we're going to go ahead and make another component. So we have the robot body, but now we're going to go ahead and new component, and we're going to say robot legs, and then activate. So now see how this is grayed out? That's because we've activated robot legs, and robot body is not activated right now. So in order to make legs, I'm going to make a sketch, and I'm going to make a sketch onto the bottom. Now importantly, I'm going to press Ctrl Z to undo that sketch creation. Importantly, I'm not making it on the plane, on the base plane. I'm making it on the bottom of the robot body, which is important because now it imports all these lines. So we can use that to define various things. Say I want the robot legs. Let's make them circles. How big do we want the circles to be? Let's go 30 millimeters. Perfect. But see how it's blue? That's because I can just drag and rotate this wherever I want. It's off-center. So if I want it to not be off-center, I can add this sketch dimension, and then click in the center, and then click on the left wall, and then I can set that to whatever value I want. So for now, we're just going to keep it exactly how it is. And then I'm going to select, then I'm going to create a line. And now I'm going to do something called a construction line. Construction lines are very useful for defining certain aspects of sketches. So construction lines help by creating various ways to base your regular geometry off of. So the construction line, I put some right here. And see how this circle is a bit off-center from the red line? How do we get it right on the red line? How do we get it perfectly? Well, the way to do that is these constraints. Constraints help you fully define a sketch and make sure that it can't move unless you definitely want it to. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click equal, and then we're going to click both of these lines and set them equal to each other. Now the circle is right on that line. And now we are actually going to delete this parameter because this is a way that we can set the exact distance, which is all well and good, but what we want to do right now is we want to create construction lines from here to here and here to here, and then we can set these equal to each other as well. But now, oh, see how it's so far off? That's because this line isn't fully constrained. We need to set it to be coincident with this line right here. Coincident means that it's on the line. So we need to set that so that it doesn't go off to the distance. So now we have it perfect. The circle is directly in the middle, right, from this line to this line, and it's in the middle from the center line to the left line. Perfect. However, there's multiple ways we can do that. So let's just delete this. We can go over and use a sketch dimension if we want. Now, recall that this distance is robot width, right? That means what's this distance? From here to here. That's correct. It's robot width divided by 2. So, then, if we want this to be exactly between, what should the distance be from the center of the circle to the left wall? That's right. Robot width divided by 4. So we're going to set a sketch dimension, and we're going to say robot width divided by 4. And now that's perfect. Now what we can do is a tool called the mirror tool. So I'm going to use the mirror tool, and I'm going to select whatever objects I want to mirror. So we'll just select that circle, and then we'll select the mirror line, which is this center line right here. Now it'll mirror it across to the other side, so we have 2 legs. Perfect. So now I'm just going to go ahead and click Finish Sketch. And then, now I have this sketch, and I can do whatever I want with it. So, for now, we're going to leave this how it is. And in the next tutorial, I'll teach you some more tools, but that's all for today. Thank you, and good luck with the rest of your Fusion journey.